People wonder why we are the way we are. We are the way we are because Biafra was the first African country, second African country to taste freedom, genuine freedom, not flag independence, not neo-colonialism, no, genuine freedom for 3 years. The children they gave birth to is carrying on from where their father stopped. Because you know why? We are Biafrans, and in us there is a lot of pride. A lot of pride. I have told this story so many times, and I'm sure that even some people may be bored of hearing me, but I will say it once again. One of the things that formed my outlook on life was Alex Haley's book I read, Roots. I think I was a 17-year-old when I read Roots. I read Roots, and a very brilliant book, I must say. There's an adaptation of it. I think it's a movie now as well. So some of you who are not taken to reading very voluminous text, you can go and avail yourself of the cinematic interpretation of that very brilliant book. Roots, R-O-O-T, Roots, R-O-O-T-S, Alex Haley. In that very book, that was why when anytime, or the 2 previous occasions I went to America, I had to go to Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. From there, I drove, or somebody drove me. Uche drove me for, what's his name? What's his name again? I've forgotten his name. I don't know if it's old age that is coming. I keep forgetting things these days. I've forgotten his name, but it will come to me. He drove me for 5 hours. He's based there in Atlanta. We went to a place called Savannah. Because when I got into Georgia, you see, I said to them that I want to go and see that very place that an Igbo man said he will not be a slave to a white man. I went there and I prayed. And that very place is called Savannah. And the woman that has the house, that her garden is actually on the very spot at the bank of this very creek where they drowned themselves. She was enthralled. She said, yeah, people come around here to have a look. We were there to pray. You see, at that very spot was when white people realized who we are. That these people are a very, very proud race and very stubborn. You see, they brought them all the way from Onitsha. In fact, basically in Obaro, they took them from Obaro and traveled all the way to US, men, women, and children. And when they inquired what they are there for, why they bound them in chains and brought them all the way to America, the white man said they are going to be sold as slaves to work in the farm to become somebody else's property. And they said, instead of me to become a fellow human being's property, I would rather die. Do you know the reason why this part of Black history is not given due prominence? It's because it will teach our children who we are, that we are a very proud race. That is why people must understand, when they look at Biafra IPOB agitation, they must understand where we are coming from. If you are another race, you may be comfortable with being a slave. That is your business. But where we come from, in the land, the original land of the free, where God Almighty in heaven is the king. Biafra was a kingdom where only God in heaven is the king. That all men are born equal before God and fellow men. We gave the world democracy. Biafra gave the world democracy before the Greeks came. Don't take it from me, take it from the white people teaching it in the universities. In Argentina, that is what they teach. It's a fact. That is why they don't want Biafra to come. Because you are the light of the black race. That is why Janjaweed can't understand us, because their reasoning is too low and is too poor. They know nothing. They know absolutely nothing. They don't know. When you see us agitate for Biafra, you kill us, you don't know what is driving us. Do you think we are doing this thing out of our own? What we are doing is of the spirit. Unless you are in the spirit, you can't understand it. If you're a zoo animal, you cannot understand the Biafran. You can never do. Never in your life. You are in a country where somebody created for you. 1960 Nigeria won independence. In your life started in 1960. And every day you wake up as a grown-up person, lettered and educated, you don't ask yourself, what is the history of my grandfather? You don't ask. Because you are black. And every nonsense that comes to you, you accept. Ask yourself why we go on protest. You kill us, we go on protest. You kill us, we keep going. You kill us, we keep going. Have you ever wondered why? Do you think that what we are doing, that we even know what we are doing? No, we don't. What is driving us? What is driving our essence is something beyond the comprehension of a black person in Africa. You can't understand it. That is why Biafra is an enigma. Only the intelligent can. Only the intelligent who are in the spirit can. And because Biafra is down, that is why black people are suffering all over the world. Do your envy all you like. Be jealous. So unless Biafra is free, you can never be free. All of you together. So it is in the best interest of everybody to join hands together that we may liberate ourselves. Now let me ask you this very simple question. All their years of restructuring debate, all their years of sovereign national conference, all their years of talking for constitutional change, has anything happened? No. Ask yourself, why is it now that everybody is talking about change, that something must give? Had IPOB crawled back into its shell at the height of the persecution, do you think that we would have given people the courage to say what they're saying today? People are saying what they are saying because they know that the zoo was unable to suppress IPOB. Anybody talking anywhere in Nigeria is because of IPOB. Anybody anywhere standing up and shouting, it is because of IPOB. Do you know why? Because that's how God intended it. You see that race of people from the east, from Igodomigodo, all the way to Ambazonia. People of the east. You see that very little place that Islam could not come into. You see that very place? Do you know that it was done for a purpose? Do you know that the time Islam was making it to the west coast of Africa, every country in West Africa, Islam, Quran dipped, or they dipped Quran in the Atlantic? Only the east. Have you, people, I don't know, have you ever sat down to ask yourself why there is Islam everywhere else, but not in the east? Because you don't know. You see, because Elohim never wanted it. God never wanted it. The reason why God allowed white man to bring his New Testament into our land is because he wanted to teach us a lesson. We are doing very horrible things at our temple in Arochukwu. Very horrible things. And God was upset. The same thing that happened to the temple in Jerusalem was what happened to us. But after 2,000 years, Israel rediscovered itself. And when Israel was about to be established, they said, no, don't go into armed struggle. Don't do this. Keep talking, keep talking, keep talking. And a very brave man, MNK, of Likud party, the founder of Likud party in Israel, MNK, I think at one time was also the head of Mossad, was the prime minister. Courageous and brave man, loved by God and men, only hated by the enemies of God. He said to hell with everybody. Do you know that it was Britain that was manning, they gave them what is called the Palestine Mandate, because by then they shared the whole world amongst themselves. They divided everything, all the colonial powers, they shared the world amongst themselves. Britain also got Israel. The same way Britain got the zoo with Biafrans in it, their own was Palestine, the Holy Land of Israel. And they asked Britain to leave, that the children of God, that God said the time has come for his children to return. Britain said no. Go and read your history books. Britain said no, they're not going anywhere. Do you know what Menachem Begin did? They used bomb and dynamite to blow the British away from the land of Israel. And in the end, Israel was restored. That is the reason why I love the Bible so much. When they say that the kingdom of God suffered violence, and only the violent can take it, and with force. If you restudy the history of Israel, it's very clear. When Israel was begging, oh, you're killing, you know what that thing we used to do? You're killing us here. Nobody will listen. They were slaughtering Jews all over the world, slaughtering them for nearly 2,000 years. Nobody did anything. Until one day, European Jews said, you know, they are going to kill us anyway. So we might as well put our life to a very good use while we still have it. We are going to have a state of Israel. And it happened. People said it wouldn't happen, but it happened. The same way we are going to have Biafra. It doesn't matter what you say. We have the lives to commit into it. And in the end, it will come. Because nobody can come from a place called Nigeria. Only if you are an animal. Only if you are a compound fool. Only if you are a degenerate idiot. Only if you don't have any brain. I keep asking you, okay, let us take your family now, for example. All of us, we have our own homes. Is that not correct? You have your wife, you have your children, and all the rest of it. And maybe some of you, as you're listening to this very broadcast this evening, you're with your family and you're eating and dining. Is that correct? Oh, how about if I walk into where you're eating now? It doesn't matter where it is. Let's say I walk into a family at Ijebode this evening and say, I am a Biafran. And by the way, I want you to change your name. This night, the name of this village. No, in fact, Ijebode, I want to change it. And I want you to call it Ijebode New Mbise. Are you following? What will you do to me? Even Janjaweed, if I were to go to Sokoto, doesn't belong to them. And I'm very happy today. There's a clip I will play, not audio I will play for you to hear. And I'm sure our media will go and get it and spread it everywhere. When Lafia was talking, Dr. Lafia was talking on channels, that's Janjaweed TV station. He is apart from we in IPOB, he is the only person I've heard use the word, the Habe Hausers. Today, I knew that the man, he reads his books, he's intelligent. When I mentioned the Habe monarchy, some of you don't know what it means. When I mentioned the Hausa, their name was the Habe, H-A-B-E, the Habe monarchies of the Hausa kingdoms. None of you knew what I was talking about. But today, my Lafia, I heard him say it. I go to be honest, we are learned. I'm being honest with you. But we shall get to that later. We must change where we reason, black people. And if you like it or not. As I warned you, as I explained to you a few days ago. As I explained to you people a few days ago. If you ask Angela Merkel, when they were exasperated with the presidency of Trump because they didn't understand him, they will say, these are European ministers. Oh, listen carefully to how white. Now I understand why white people, they make so much progress. A white person, I heard Angela Merkel, the leader of the strongest nation in Europe, Germany. By none, Germany is the strongest nation in Europe. Do you know what she was saying? Oh, we want President Trump to show leadership. He is the leader of the free world. This is a German prime minister saying that another head of state is the leader of the free world because they understand that if America dies today or is suffering, they know they're all sunk. Do you think an African head of state will do that? You have jazz. Never. Pride and envy won't let them. Jealousy and greed can't allow them. That is why they don't want to give Biafrans credit. They know who we are. They know, as I said to them, how many hours did your protest last at Lekki? Not up to 5 minutes. They vacuum swept all of you inside Black Maria, and the protest is over. Because I did not bring out IPOB. I did not bring out Biafrans in Lagos. Had I given the order, come out for protest, by today, the protest will still be on. It is nobody's fault. That is how God made us. It is not, I'm not bigoted. It is not about ethnic jingoism. It is not about a sense of racism. That is all rubbish. But the creation as we know it started in my land. Creation, God Almighty in heaven, chose Biafra land as the center of this very earth. 0 longitude and 0 latitude. Go and check your geography textbooks. 0 latitude and 0 longitude, where sunlight meets darkness. The center of this very earth is in Biafra land. That is why Britain created Greenwich Mean Time, moved it 1 hour to the left. Who doesn't know that? That is why they're afraid of us. That is why they cannot get any conviction in any court in the world. That is why they're even afraid of us, of trying us in their own courts. That is the reason why we are as formidable as we are. But the devil will try. The Gwensu will try. As they did against the emergence of the glorious state of Israel. They will try, but they will fail in the end. Because we represent the light. Do you know that darkness has no power? You see darkness. You see, darkness has nothing feeding it. I want you to understand and relate this very analogy to the zoo called Nigeria. You see darkness, or actually darkness. You know when NEPA takes light, there is darkness everywhere. That darkness has no power. Darkness is only acting because there is no light. Once light comes, it disappears. And it can never come. As long as that light is on, darkness will never come close. Never, ever, ever. It can never come close. Have you do a simple experiment? Because you see, darkness, you know, when you're going out at night and there is no light, there is darkness everywhere, is because there is darkness in nature. Nothing is fueling it. There is no generator generating darkness. No, it's there, just there. Like Lucifer. Once, you see, for you to defeat darkness, you need to generate electricity or light. And to generate light takes energy. You must do something. You can't keep quiet. You must do something. If you don't do something, you continue to live in darkness. So at that time, you put the battery inside your torch and you on the torch. What happens? Darkness along that line flees. It can never come as long as your light is on. As long as your light bulb is on, there is no way darkness can come. But darkness, it doesn't cause darkness anything. Like the Fulani Janjaweed, it doesn't cause them anything to destroy. But to overpower them, you must come together. There must be synergy. There must be energy. There must be momentum. You must have that thrust. By thrust, I mean T-H-R-U-S-T, not T-R-U-S-T. Now you understand me, don't you? Now you understand me, don't you? I insult black people because I want them to develop some sense. Begging them doesn't work. This is black. But how can you explain to somebody who is a PhD holder, who is a professor? A professor who will open his mouth and call his land Port Harcourt. You're a professor of maybe nuclear science. That means you have no shame and you have no pride. We all mask our collective impotence. You know, blacks are very impotent. Especially when you go onto Facebook and see the wish when we are arguing about separation and freedom many years ago, some idiots are talking rubbish. Nigeria, one Nigeria, patriotic Nigerian. Look at the idiot. Patriotic who? You mean patriotic product of Frederick Lugard? Nobody is a Nigerian. You dimwits, you morons. No human being is a Nigerian. That is how daft the people are. The sooner you search for salvation under your ethnic identity or nationality, the better for you. Shameless people. Who is a Nigerian? Let me ask you. Who? Is it the one from Mali with AK-47 somewhere in Mina, raping and killing people? People without a collection of people without honor or shame. God have mercy on your ignorance. and the wretchedness of it. We love to mask our collective impotence by seeking solace in English language. That most of us don't even know. You see one idiot writing grammar. Ask him to explain that grammar. He doesn't know. He doesn't know what he's writing. But because the word sounds sweet, just like when we learned the phrase, circumstances beyond my control. Anything you ask somebody who say circumstances beyond my control, he doesn't know, but it sounds nice in the ear. So you say circumstances beyond, even out of context they use it. That is what happens to all these idiotic intellectual grammarians on Facebook writing rubbish. Now listen. Imagine how powerless we have been for years to make minor, what I would even call insignificant change, like ordinary restructuring. Ask yourself this question: what would it cost Fulani to restructure? Nothing. No, it doesn't. Nothing. Those championing restructuring did not say let's break Nigeria. No, they said let's make things better. Somebody somewhere said no. Go through your senators. Because they know they have the numerical strength to frustrate whatever motion or bill that you have on the floor of both the House of Reps and of the Senate. And somebody who is so blatantly disadvantaged will rise up in the morning and tell you he's a proud Nigerian. I want to demolish these intellectual Lilliputs. Let me put it that way. They are minions. They are nothing. They hide under grammar. They spend 4 days. They go through the dictionary, cramming every rubbish. They come and they write junk. Because they are inferior. Because you see, an Englishman speaks English. And they are so inferior that you have to write. You want to aspire to write like an Englishman so you can perhaps acquire some of the aura of an English person, so that your peers can respect you. But you are making an absolute idiotic fool of yourself. As most of you may know, I have been to many countries around the world. There are people who write and speak their language with every pride. Every pride. You come and you speak, they say, oh, you speak English? You say, yeah, okay. Why don't you learn my language? Oh dear. Simple change, something as minor as let us go back to the regions that was working. Fulani said no. Only one group, and they're a minority. A bunch of Janja, a minority. They are not up to 20 million. Not up to 20 million. It's so ridiculous. I thank God that the houses have woken up after many years. Sometimes, if you're IPOB, you pat yourself on the back. You have changed so much. I'm telling you that you have changed the thinking and the reasoning capacity of most people in that damnable zoological republic. And we must continue. We're not going to stop. Imagine how are you hearing of sovereign national conference anymore? That one is dead, though. Simple, minor, even insignificant change like restructuring the political landscape. They said no. Because you're a black man, you don't have the power to do anything. This UG. Something that should help move a country forward. Some idiots in the same country. On the contrary, some of the so-called agitators for restructuring. You know what they're waiting for? They're waiting for Britain to say something. Not to say, but to do something. They want Britain to pick up the phone, the Prime Minister of Britain, US President, then call whoever is in Asorok and say, now it's time for restructuring. And do you know where they got that nonsense from? It was during Abacha's time. None of you were able to remove Abacha. He was a very deadly dictator, a very brutal one for that matter. Abacha was killing left, right, and center. Yet in Kano, there is Sani Abacha Stadium. Somebody who is acknowledged to be a mass murderer. The same thing they did with the regime, the murderous regime of Abacha, is what they are doing with Fulani headsmen, Mietiala, killers and murderers. They always defend their own. And somebody was, I remember in those days, they said their zoo national team, Green Eagles, were going to play. Is this Super Eagle? I don't know what eagle they are now. Or maybe Dark Eagle or White Eagle, I don't know. that they were going to play a football match in Kano at a place called Sani Abacha Stadium. And I remember the white commentator saying, come on, Sani Abacha Stadium? Was that not the dictator? Hey, Shem left everybody and was doing me. He had a happen now, left everybody and was holding me. Now you understand it, don't you? The same way they are defending. Is it not Buhari, the dead one, or the real Buhari? When that dead Buhari was, do you remember when Buhari said that Abacha did not loot any money? Have you all forgotten? One Nigerians. You see the way you reason? That is why I feel sorry for all of you. You one Nigerians. Your stupidity cannot be weighed on a scale. Your idiocy is legendary. I'm telling you. Sani Abacha Stadium. And they said Abacha did not steal anything. Hiding under English. It's common restructuring you cannot do. Ordinary, everybody agrees it may help. You cannot do it because you're waiting for a white EU, white America, white Canada, white everywhere to do it for you. Because it was America that killed Abacha, not you. You are impotent and you're powerless. And it wasn't Africans that got independence for Africa. It was the United States of America warning Britain and the whole of Europe to get away from Africa. That was what happened right after the Second World War. Anybody telling you that they fought and they got their flag independence is a liar and is a deceiver. Do you understand? I think it was Harry Truman that said to Europe, oh, enough of that rubbish, that your useless colony you have in Africa. Get out! And they went out. The same thing happened during the Suez Canal crisis. Some of you may not know because you may be too young or you are ahistorical because you do not read books. There was a very brave, young military officer in Egypt called Gamal Abdel Nasser. And he killed, what's his name again? He killed the very moderate Egyptian prime minister, or they said he was killed by the what's it called, Islamic Brotherhood. He assumed power. Britain left Britain. They want to come to Africa to be collecting toll gate, checkpoint. They set up checkpoint as Suez because it's far more easier, like the Panama, to use the Mediterranean Sea to cross through the Suez Canal into the Arabian Gulf. Is it a Gulf of Eden or is it Arabian Gulf? One of the two. The Arabian Gulf. As they call it, Gulf of Eden. Because that way the ships, rather than going through South Africa, the Cape of Good Hope, and coming back up again via the Indian Ocean, a very long journey, you cut that journey short by taking a shortcut. Britain built a toll gate in Africa. When NASA came in, NASA said, you cannot come here and be collecting money, tax on my father's land. You have to go. Britain said no. NASA took it over by force. I think it was Prime Minister Eden in England, in Britain, that sent British expeditionary force to go and retake Suez Canal that doesn't belong to Britain by force. The Suez Canal Company. They went into Suez Canal after 2 or 3 days. Eden got a phone call from the US president in no uncertain terms, told him to get away from there, it's not yours. That was how Britain withdrew. Because Britain listened to USA. Because USA take care of British interest as well. Now, do you understand how they play this politics? Do you understand it? In your own land, you cannot even bring about a simple change. Ordinary restructuring, not even freedom. Ordinary restructuring you cannot do. Always blowing useless, senseless grammar that has no meaning. After blowing grammar, there's no light. No hospital, no good roads. After blowing grammar and putting on tie in the middle of the afternoon, also swallow a sui. And I was so speaking grammar all the time. And nothing is happening. Intellectuals everywhere. We mask our collective impotence by seeking solace in English language we don't even understand, most of us. Are always waiting for white people. We are not going to wait anymore. We are better off dead now. Okay, what are we doing with life? This stupid, useless life. A life where somebody can come from Mali with AK-47 and go to Zombe and decide to rape a grandmother. After raping the grandmother, you say they are misunderstood. You misunderstood them. They are my brothers. According to Sheikh Gumi, is that the type of country you want me to be in? Are you mad? Are you sure you're well? Are you sure you are well? Are you sure you are well? Intellectuals everywhere. But now they have come back to that. Most of them have come back to their senses. We need to get off our lazy asses to make lives better for ourselves by seeking freedom for everybody. I said mass overdose of freedom. Freedom is like vitamin C. In actual fact, it has no overdose. More freedom is better for everybody. And that is the freedom that we are seeking for everybody, for every dick, every thumb, everybody must be free. Everybody must be free. They cage you in the zoo, treating you like animal, the same way they treated your fathers, they're treating you, and you take it. All you do is you complain, you mourn, and you go back and you sleep. Not in IPOB, we don't do that rubbish. Look at how successive governments in Nigeria adopted what I call the pauperization. I want to get it so people understand. You know, when you turn somebody into a pauper, into a very poor, wretched soul, I call it the pauperization philosophy of the Fulani Janjaweed. You know what they do in their feudal system? They become wealthy by impoverishing everybody else. You have to be poor. Only their children will go to school. Only them will have houses in Dubai. The ordinary Hausa man on the street is doing Babiala with no hope for his children. But even Fulanis are suffering. It's only the feudal lords, the half-educated, semi-literate feudal lords of the Fulani. They brought in that mentality. Some of you don't know why you don't have light in Nigeria. Sometimes I look at it and I laugh. A country that has coal, abundance of it, you have wall-to-wall sunshine every blessed day. You have tidal waves along the coastal lines. You have dams, you built dams, yes? You have gas. Let me repeat, you can generate electricity through thermal, which is coal, through gas, through wind, through waves, sea waves, through hydroelectricity. All these things are in abundance. Some of you go to China, you see, they even make fake solar panels, and it works. A country of 200 million people cannot even utilize Kainji Dam that they built. A country of 200 million people they bring out gas from the ground. They ship this gas to Europe, to South America, to Asia. Those people, they have 24 hours electricity from the same gas that you're shipping from Ohaji. But people on Ohaji don't have any light. I don't know if I'm making sense. If people can understand what I'm saying. It's a lecture. People in faraway Japan that has nothing, they have light. People in Enugu that has coal under them, as you're walking in Enugu, it's all coal under you. They have no electricity. Do you see how stupid black people are? Sometimes, to be honest, if you sit down and begin to ponder how useless black people are, you will go outside and you commit suicide. I'm telling you the truth. It's a simple question. How come I produce crude oil from no, you don't produce. God gave us crude oil. You export the crude oil in one barrel that contains everything from kerosene to paraffin to engine oil to plastic, everything. And then you only import petrol that you used to drive your car and diesel. Whereas you have refineries in your country. Let me be very honest. It's not pulverization. Pulverization is to make something disappear. That's to pulverize. Pulverize is to make something disappear, not pulverization. To impoverish somebody. Impoverishment. That is the philosophy of the Fulani. That's what they brought into Nigeria. So don't you know that? If they give you 24 hours electricity, which they can, all those girls they are taking to Dubai will not be cheap anymore because they'll have their own jobs, they'll have their own cars, they'll have their own businesses, they'll have their own mansion. That time you have to start buying flour and chocolate and behaving very well. No, that's the difference.